Good evening once again, everybody. Welcome to the live stream of A Flawed Man and my reactions to the Bible. If you're new to the stream, my name is Stuart Davis. I'm a deacon at a small church just outside of Richmond, Virginia. I'm not a pastor. I'm not here trying to get you to join my congregation, donate to any special cause. I'm just trying to give you exposure to what I assume or what I interpret is an average Christian and his thoughts, feelings, and one of those things is going through the Bible and giving my kind of just knee-jerk reaction to it and thoughts as they come to mind. And we are still in Genesis, and I encourage you if you are here on the live stream, go ahead and leave some comments as we go through here. Give me your thoughts and feelings as it goes on. If you come across the stream after the live stream has ended, by all means, leave a comment. Let me know what you're thinking. I'd love to address it. That's one of the things I want to see grow about this channel. Obviously, is viewer interaction. So, like I said, we're still in Genesis. We are covering Abraham. Abraham had last night's coverage was it was pretty impactful because it's one of the most important events that happens in the Bible, almost especially at this point, because we have the moment where Abraham's son Isaac is a child, and God tests Abraham by asking him to sacrifice his son, his only son, now that he has sent away his firstborn, his only son, sacrifice it to the Lord as a sacrifice because God told him to, as just to do what he has been told. And Abraham puts everything in place and is getting ready to kill Isaac on an altar for the Lord. When the Lord's angel stops him and says, "Don't do this. Thank you. You have expressed that you are going to do exactly as you're told," and for that, that really brings full circle in the agreement between God and Abraham, where God has said, do my will, be faithful to me, trust in me, and do as I say, and you will be greatly rewarded. And he'd already given him a son, well past his prime, about 100 years old when his son was born, and same thing with his wife Sarah. So he'd given him the son, but this had been a gift from God, and now God was saying, okay, now I've given it to you. Now you're going to give it back to me as an offering. And Abraham was ready to do it by all accounts, but he didn't, because God stepped in at the end and said, the act of getting there was really all I wanted to see. So we ended up on that. There was no killing of children. There was killing of a ram instead, and then everybody was happy, especially Isaac, probably, who might have been a little torn on the issue, but Isaac's a good chap, so he probably, if he's anything like his father, or his father was raising him to be like himself, Isaac kind of understood what was going on a little bit, I guess, but at the same time, it's always got to be a little bit concerning when your dad's ready to kill you. Be an interesting thing to be a fly on the wall for that. Where was Isaac? Was Isaac pleading for his life? Was he just sad and resigned to his fate? Or was he happy? Was he happy that he was going to be part of the sacrifice for his dad, between his dad and God? But didn't have to go through the whole thing. So we're going to start up with Genesis chapter 23, and we are going to start this on a sad note because, like we said, Abraham and Sarah are both very old at this time, and eventually they are going to hit their limit, and the limit is going to reach Sarah first, and she is going to die, unfortunately. Now, I'm going to share my screen. This is Bible Gateway. I've said this before. Bible Gateway is great. Great way to access the Bible. It's a free resource and it's easy to use. That's the best thing. The interface is easy to use. You can get plenty of interpretations and translations of the Bible. There's lots of resources. I highly encourage you to do that. Even if you have a cell phone, this beats the apps, at least the apps that I've used. So, BibleGateway.com, that's what I use. Hopefully they appreciate. Maybe they'll never know. Who cares? Because the only thing that really matters is it's the Word of God getting out there. So, Genesis chapter 23, the death of Sarah. Sarah lived to be 127 years old. She died at Kiriath Arba, that is Hebron, in the land of Canaan, and Abraham went to mourn for Sarah and weep over her. And then Abraham rose from beside his dead wife and spoke to the Hittites. He said, I am a foreigner and a stranger among you. Sell me some property for a burial site here so I can bury my dead. Abraham, this is a very narrative account. It's not really, but even then, you can really kind of feel kind of Abraham's sadness here. He very much loved Sarah. He might have had some questionable dealings when traveling with her, but they were very close, and they were together for a long time. And now she's gone, and he's all alone. Well, he's got Isaac too, so that is the good thing. But he's in this land. He's in the land of Canaan, but it's not his homeland. And so he says, "Look, this is not the land that I'm from. So let me buy some property and bury it, so I can bury my wife." The Hittites replied to Abraham, "Sir, listen to us. You are a mighty prince among us. Bury your dead in the choicest of our tombs. None of us will refuse you his tomb for burying your dead." Then Abraham rose and bowed down before the people of the land, the Hittites. He said to them, "If you are willing to let me bury my dead, then listen to me and intercede with Ephron, son of Zohar, on my behalf. So he will sell me the cave of Machpelah, which belongs to him and is at the end of his field. Ask him to sell it to me for the full price as a burial site among you." Ephron the Hittite was sitting among his people, and he replied to Abraham in the hearing of all the Hittites who had come to the gate of his city. "No, my lord," he said. "Listen to me. I give you the field, and I give you the cave that is in it. I give it to you in the presence of my people. Bury your dead." So, good hospitality going on. Abraham is very popular in this land, and everybody's probably grieving along with him because if Abraham's popular, that probably means Sarah's popular right along with him, especially now that she seems to be happier that she's got a kid. But now she's gone, and like we said, Abraham's mourning and sadness is real, and then he does the right thing. He says, "Look, I want to buy some land and bury my wife. Please let me do so." And the Hittites are like, "No, your money's no good here. Money's no good here. You just name where you want to bury her, and we'll do it." And if Ephron is one of them, and he gets in then, and he says the same thing, because Ephron is the gentleman who apparently owns the land where Abraham wants to bury them. Very sad, but good on these folks. They're showing a lot of hospitality, a lot of friendship and kindness here. Ephraim said, hang on. Again, Abraham bowed down before the people of the land, and he said to Ephron in their hearing, "Listen to me, if you will. I will pay the price of the field. Accept it from me, so that I can bury my dead there." Ephron said to Abraham, "Listen to me, my lord. The land is worth 400 shekels of silver. But what is that between you and me? Bury your dead." This is what it's worth. I like this. I like kind of how he did this, too. This is what it's worth, but money's no good here. Again, what is that between you and me? Go bury your wife. Abraham again agreed to Ephraim's terms and weighed out for him the price he had named in the hearing of the Hittites, 400 shekels of silver according to the weight current among the merchants. So Abraham pays him anyway. So Ephraim's field and Machpelah near Mamre, both the field and the cave in it, and all the trees within the borders of the field was deeded to Abraham as his property in the presence of all the Hittites who had come to the great gate of the city. Afterwards, Abraham buried his wife Sarah in the cave in the field of Machpelah near Mamre, which is Hebron. Apparently, they feel the need to qualify this every time we read it. In the land of Canaan. So the field and the cave in it were deeded to Abraham by the Hittites as a burial site. So, must be a really nice place. Maybe it's a place that Sarah liked to go. So Sarah's gone now, and I don't know if we're going to hear about that, but here we go. Isaac and Rebekah. Okay, so we got another lady entering the story now. Abraham was now very old, and the Lord had blessed him in every way. He had said to the senior servant in his household, the one in charge of all that he had, "Put your hand under my thigh. I want you to swear by the Lord, the God of heaven and the God of earth, that you will not get a wife for my son from the daughters of the Canaanites, among whom I am living, but will go to my country and my own relatives and get a wife for my son Isaac." Okay, so he's sending his servant over. I guess this hand under the thigh is some sort of cultural significance to getting set on a quest, I guess. But he's sending his servant out to go get a wife for his son, as opposed to sending his son out to go get a wife for himself. The servant asked him, "What if the woman is unwilling to come back with me to this land? Shall I then take your son back to the country you came from? Or maybe take him with you?" So, I don't know. "Make sure that you do not take my son back there," Abraham said. "The Lord, the God of heaven, who brought me out of my father's household and my native land, and who spoke to me and promised me on oath, saying, 'To your offspring I will give this land,' he will send his angel before you so that you can get a wife for my son from there. If the woman is unwilling to come back with you, then you will be released from this oath of mine. Only do not take my son back there." So the servant put his hand under the thigh of his master Abraham and swore an oath to him concerning this matter. So, apparently that's our answer. Abraham does not want Isaac to go back there because God let him out of that area. And Abraham's taking this, and he's probably right because Abraham seems to have a good nose for these things. Abraham's assuming that, or knows that his family's not really meant to go back to where they came from. And maybe he's worried that Isaac will be led astray at that point, or want to live with the family, go back to his home nation and maybe feel like putting down roots there, when here is where he needs to be because God has said this is where you need to be. Abraham's looking out for his son, I think, in this matter. So at first I was like, this isn't, why don't you just send your son? Now there seems to be some method to the madness. That makes sense. And he said, and the servant said, "Well, look, what if I find a woman and she don't want to come with me?" And Abraham says, "Well, then you don't have to bring her back then." So the servant goes along. Then the servant left, taking with him 10 of his master's camels, loaded with all kinds of good things from his master. Well, that's a good way to impress the ladies. He set out for Aram Naharaim, that place, Aram, and made his way to the town of Nahor. He had the camels kneel down near the well outside the town. It was toward the evening, the time the women go out to draw water. Then he prayed, "Lord, God of my master Abraham, make me successful today and show kindness to my master Abraham. See, I am standing beside the spring, and the daughters of the townspeople are coming out to draw water. May it be that when I say to a young woman, 'Please let down your jar that I may have a drink,' she says, 'Drink, and I'll water your camels too.' Let her be the one you have chosen for your servant Isaac. By this I will know that you have shown kindness to my master." Yeah, sometimes I would like to see in the Bible that some of these folks who do they're kind of like the middleman in getting this done, when they show great faith in the Lord, that they get their name in there. But this is just like Star Trek science officer number 3, but in this case it's just Abraham's servant. But it is good. This illustrates here that not just Abraham is following and faithful to the Lord, it is also his servants. You've got to remember, Abraham, when he circumcised himself, he wasn't the only one who did it. It was also all the men in his house, all the men who reported to him, all of his servants, employees, whatever you want to call them. They all did the same thing, and they all fall under Abraham. And this is one of his people, you know, he's on a mission. He's on a mission from Abraham, and so he's praying, hey, this is a scenario that will work for me. Please let it happen so that I know that I'm getting the right woman. You know, what this should be the sign. Before he had finished praying, Rebecca came out with her jar on her shoulders. She was the daughter of Bethuel, son of Milcah, who was the wife of Abraham's brother Nahor. The woman was very beautiful, a virgin. No man had ever slept with her. Well, that's the definition of a virgin. She went down to the spring, filled her jar, and came up again. The servant hurried to meet her and said, "Please, give me a little water from your jar." "Drink, my lord," she said, and quickly lowered the jar to her hands and gave him a drink. After she had given him a drink, she said, "I'll draw water for your camels too, until they have had enough to drink." It's always a great thing when God answers your prayers immediately. I'm sure that servant's like, yes, right off the bat. And he might be, if it's something like me, being like, maybe did I ask, and this is just a coincidence? Maybe I asked for the wrong thing. That would be me second guessing myself. So she quickly emptied her jar into the trough, ran back to the well to draw more water, and drew enough for all his camels. Without saying a word, the man watched her closely to learn whether or not the Lord had made his journey successful. Yep, see, right there. Just wanted to make sure that he asked for the right thing and it's not just a coincidence. She answered him, "I'm the daughter of..." Wait, hold on, I'm getting ahead of myself. When the camels had finished drinking, the man took out a gold nose ring weighing a beka, which is some sort of weight, and 2 gold bracelets weighing 10 shekels. Then he asked, whose daughter are you? Please tell me, is there room in your father's house for us to spend the night?" She answered him, "I am the daughter of Bethuel, the son that Milcah bore to Nahor." And she added, "We have plenty of straw and fodder, as well as room for you to spend the night." I wonder if people really introduce themselves like that. "I'm the daughter of Bethuel, the son that Milcah bore to Nahor," as opposed to just Bethuel of the house of Nahor, or the house of Milcah, or whatever. This seems just really long and drawn out sometimes. Then the man bowed down and worshipped the Lord, saying, "Praise be to the Lord, the God, my master Abraham, who has not abandoned his kindness and faithfulness to my master. As for me, the Lord has led me on a journey to the house of my master's relatives." He's very thankful. Good for you. Good for you, servant, who is not named here. Not just having the faith to pray to God to get this mission done, but also afterwards being immediately thankful and not just, assuming. The young woman ran and told her mother's household about these things. Now, Rebecca had a brother named Laban, and he hurried out to the man at the spring. As soon as he had seen the nose ring and the bracelets on his sister's arm, and had heard Rebecca tell what the man had said to her, he went out to the man and found him standing by the camels near the spring. "Come, you who are blessed by the Lord," he said. "Why are you standing out here? I've prepared the house and a place for the camels." I wonder if Laban's getting a bigger part in the story, but it's really sad. Again, I'm really sad here, or maybe I'm getting sidetracked, that Laban's getting named and this servant still has no name in the Bible. So the man went but Laban's being, again, very neighborly. I love the amount of hospitality, especially in the Old Testament. People are very happy to see each other for the most part. And they're doing these things. They're doing these things as they see somebody like, "Oh yeah, come on in. I've got this table for you. Let's have dinner. We'll go slaughter a calf and have a barbecue." This is great. This speaks to me. This fulfills me when I see this, and we've gotten away from that in more recent days. And culturally, we seem to have closed off a lot more. We're not as neighborly to each other. Everybody's worried about what's going on in someone's house or being associated with somebody who's weird, I guess. But we all kind of closed in. This is not like decades ago when you had company or when you had neighbors, you did things together. You had good relations. Everybody kept kind of tight, with a lot more tight knit than now. When I was in an HOA where I spoke to none of my neighbors, and none of my neighbors spoke to me, and I thought it was really weird. I was really kind of put off on it. Everybody kind of acted like when we moved in, like, okay, Johnny come lately, I guess. So the man went to the house, and the camels were unloaded. Straw and fodder were brought for the camels, and water for him and his men to wash their feet. Then food was set before him, but he said, "I will not eat until I've told you what I have to say." This is a man who appreciates. This is a man who is very committed to his mission. Then tell us, Laban said. So he said, I am Abraham's servant. The Lord has blessed my master abundantly, and he has become wealthy. He has given him sheep and cattle, silver and gold, male and female servants, and camels and donkeys. My master's wife Sarah has borne him a son in her old age, and he has given him everything he owns. And my master made me swear an oath and said, you must not get a wife for my son from the daughters of the Canaanites, in whose land I live, but go to my father's family and to my own clan and get a wife for my son. Okay, so he's basically said, hey, I'm here, long-lost relative. He's become rich and famous out in the land of Canaan. And maybe he doesn't go into why Abraham had so many sheep and cattle and silver and gold, because if they know that a lot of it came from saying that his wife was actually his sister, 2 kings, they might not want that for their daughter. So, what is it? My master made me swear an oath, said, blah, 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 blah. Sorry, got a sidetrack there. Then I asked my master, what if the woman will not come back with me? He replied, the Lord, before whom I have walked faithfully, will send his angel with you and make your journey a success, so that you can get a wife for my son, from my own clan and from my father's family. You will be released from my oath when you go to my clan. When you go to my clan, they refuse to give her to you. Then you will be released from my oath. That doesn't read very well. When I came to the spring today, I said, Lord, God of my master Abraham, if you will, please grant success to the journey on which I have come. See, I am standing beside the spring. If a young woman comes out to draw water, and I say to her, please let me drink a little water from your jar, and if she says to me, drink, and I will draw water for your camels too, let her be the one the Lord has chosen for my master's son. Before I finished praying in my heart, Rebekah came out with her jar on her shoulder. She went down to the spring and drew water. I said to her, please give me a drink. He's being, I'm rehashing all of this, right? She quickly lowered her jar from her shoulder and said, drink, and I'll water your camels too. So I drank, and she watered the camels also. I asked her, whose daughter are you? She said, the daughter of Bethuel, son of Nahor, who Milcah bore to him. This is painfully repetitive, it seems. Then I put the ring in her nose and the bracelets on her, and I bowed down and worshiped the Lord. I praised the Lord, the God of my master Abraham, who had let me on the right road to get the granddaughter of my master's brother for his son. Now, if you will show kindness and faithfulness to my master, tell me, and if not, tell me, so I may know which way to turn. Laban and Bethuel answered, this is from the Lord. We can say nothing to you one way or the other. Here is Rebekah. Take her and go, and let her become the wife of your master's son, as the Lord has directed. When Abraham's servant heard what they said, he bowed down to the ground before the Lord. Then the servant brought out gold and silver jewelry and articles of clothing and gave them to Rebekah. He also gave costly gifts to her brother and her mother. Then he and the men who were with them ate and drank and spent the night there. Oh, so there was much rejoicing, right? There's much rejoicing. We have a man coming who is a servant. He has got riches from many gifts from a distant relative that is Abraham. And he said, hey, I'm here to collect a wife for my servant's son, and this lady was the first one to come out after I prayed, and she's a perfect fit, right? So you get riches, and I'm bringing her back with me with the 10 camels and other servants and all the things that impress folks. So everybody's having a good time, and there's much rejoicing. Laban and Bethuel answered, when Abraham's servant heard what they said, he bowed down to the ground before the Lord. Oh, I already read that. When they got up the next morning, he said, send me on my way to my master. But her brother and mother replied, let the young woman remain with us 10 days or so, then you may go. So maybe they want some time to spend with her. But they were so eager to get her to send her off the night before. Wonder what changed their mind. But he said to them, do not detain me. Now that the Lord has granted success to my journey, send me on my way so that I may go to my master. Then they said, let's call the young woman and ask her about it. So they called Rebekah and asked her, will you go with this man? I will go, she said. So they sent their sister Rebekah on her way, along with her nurse and Abraham's servant and his men, and they blessed Rebekah and said to her, Our sister, may you increase to thousands upon thousands. May your offspring possess the cities of their enemies. Okay, that's that's quite a send off, right? And again, good on the servant. The servant is really makes me happy. He's really great in this account so far. I don't know why they don't give his name. He deserves to have his name in here. I don't know why I'm getting hung up on that, but still, again, they was like, hey, we want to keep her around for 10 more days. He goes, no, no, this task that I've been sent on is complete. I need to get back, and I need to bring her with me. And Rebecca agrees, thankfully, avoiding any type of conflict there. Good for you, Rebecca. Then Rebecca and her attendants got ready and mounted the camels and went back to the man. So the servant took Rebecca and left. Now Isaac had come from Beer Lahai Roy. I guess if that's well, Bear. I hate pronouncing all this stuff. For he was living in the Negev. He went out to the field one evening to meditate, and as he looked up, he saw camels approaching. Rebecca also looked up and saw Isaac. She got down from her camel and asked the servant, who is that man in the field coming to meet us? He is my master, the servant answered. So she took her veil and covered herself. Then the servant told Isaac all he had done. Isaac brought her into the tent of his mother Sarah, and he married Rebekah. So she became his wife, and he loved her, and Isaac was comforted after his mother's death. Good deal. That's great. So they seemed, that's, God's involved. So that things are going to work out a way. But you think about that from a different perspective, and you might say, I don't know about this. You're just going out, you're bringing this lady in. They've never met each other. What if they don't like each other? What if there's no chemistry, whatever? And it's pretty immediate. And they get married immediately. So she became his wife, and he loved her. And Isaac was comforted after his mother's death. That's good because, luckily for me, I haven't had to grieve for my mom. She is still very much alive, and we will be spending Thanksgiving together along with my dad and my family. So that is good. But my mom actually has just my grandmother, her mother, just passed away recently, a few months ago. A few months back. So my mom's dealing with that. That's some grief. And it's going to be a little bit different for the family because a lot of times they were meeting. It used to be when I was growing up, we all met over at my grandmother's house, and that was a big thing. But she's no longer with us, and so it's just going to be weird. Just no phone calls, no notifications, no maybe her stopping by. That's just going to be different. It's going to be hard on my mom, and so. You think about that. You think about that for Isaac. He was probably very close, and also she died. She dies when he's relatively young. She's 127. She was 100 years old when he was born. So he's 27 years old and his mom died. Now this is not like he was 5 years old and his mom died, but still relatively. He hasn't been married. He doesn't have kids yet. He misses all those experiences, and he hasn't really. And he's still living with Abraham on his estate. So he's not out on his own. She's still very much a part of his life, and now she's gone. But now, Rebecca shows up. They hit it right off. Awesome, great. This is what happens when you obey God and you follow the plan, right? But it's not just Isaac who's involved here. Obviously, this started with Abraham. Abraham's faithfulness. Abraham understanding what needed to be done, and being rewarded for that. The servant going out there and showing the faith and saying, hey, I'm out here. This is where I think this is where Abraham told me to be. Let's come up with this. He offers a plan to God, and God meets it right there. And boom, brings him back. Is offered this to linger longer. Nope, I'm sticking to the plan, sticking to my task. Let's get up. Let's go. And they get they get back, and Isaac's got a wife. I guess I should change the description because I said gets that mail order girlfriend. I don't even know if they're together long enough to be to be dating. They just go straight into marriage. So there we have it. We only did the two chapters today. We've been doing about 3, I think, on average. the past couple of episodes, but this one was a very long one, and we're so we and like I said, Sarah's now passed away, so Abraham's not far behind, and we will and things are starting to transition from Abraham to Isaac, and then from Isaac to whoever's next. But we will find out when we get to those parts. In the meantime, again, a lot of Abraham's story that we see here, and this is the degrees of separation away from Abraham. His faithfulness, him putting things in motion, him knowing what God expects out of him, is what is really just an amazing quality. Again, we talked about it last night. Something we should all kind of strive to have. There's lots of qualities that a lot of folks in the Old Testament, in the New Testament, have these amazing qualities that kind of separate them from the rest. And these are qualities that you may share. These are qualities that you have to work on. But it just shows you how far these qualities will take you, and just trying to match them a little bit can go a long way. And it improves yourself, it improves the life of everybody around you. This is Christianity, folks. This is the faith. This is what God wants. And constant improvement, understanding, having the humility to understand that you are failing in some reasons, but also the faith to know that it's okay, that it's okay to be failing as long as you're working to get better at it. And you might stumble along the way. Christianity, you are going to be loved regardless of that, of how much I guess you were able to succeed, just as long as you're seeking God out and that you're making an effort, an honest effort. I think that I don't know if some people think that they can fool God. It's never really occurred to me that anything that's going through my head I'm gonna be able to hide to God. So I'm still pretty sure that it's going to blow my mind when my time for judgment comes. How much God understands about me and how much God knows about me. So, that being said, everybody, I'm going to be on tomorrow night, so but if you don't catch the next stream, have a happy Thanksgiving. Be safe. Be loving. Hope everything is good around you, and I hope you get to spend time with loved ones, of whether it's family, friends, whatever. Enjoy that time. This is a time to be thankful. This is a time to be together. So make those efforts, and I hope you have somebody to. I hope you have people to spend that time with. In the meantime,